Joining me today is Jeff Feingold, who's the editor of the New Hampshire Business Review. Jeff, one of the stories that your paper has been following is, in print and online, is the issues of sort of family-friendly business practices.
Yes.
And I want to get a handle on sort of where we are, whether this is bubbling up from the businesses or sort of coming down from the legislature, or both, or and where I realize a lot of it may be in the next biennium.
Yeah.
But sort of what are the trends we're seeing? Is New Hampshire competitive, not competitive?
I think what we've seen now is that, first of all, New Hampshire has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. And a lot of businesses, especially businesses that are like in the tech world, have a really hard time finding employees, skilled employees. And what they're doing is finding ways to attract and retain employees. And one of the best ways that's been shown around the country, across the country, actually around the world, is if you have policies that you call family friendly, like family leave, not just parental leave, but allowing your employees to take leave if a sick child, a sick spouse, a sick parent. Because we obviously are dealing with all kinds of different demographics.
If you look at the age, for every parent there's a child.
Exactly.
And as the parents get older, the children into the workforce.
Like parental leave is a big deal. We're talking about, then it gets into other things like having childcare in the business. That's a big one. There's also things like sick leave, which is also a big thing. Actually, Vermont just recently passed mandatory sick leave, 3 days that you get paid, no matter what your job is, which is that's not on the radar in New Hampshire right now.
But and that as I recall, is going to expand to 5 days over time.
Oh, it may. Yeah, I just know that the Governor Shumlin just signed the bill just
for
recently.
3 days.
Yeah, which I think is only the 5th state in the country to allow to mandate something like that. But they all come under the umbrella of family-friendly policies. Some in some states are mandated by the legislature, but in other cases it's just businesses seeing this as good policy because it helps them attract and retain employees. Family-friendly policies have been shown in many studies, helps employee morale, help people work better, they feel better about the company, they produce more. It's pretty much, I don't like really using this term too much, but it is pretty much a win-win. It helps the employees and it helps the employer at the same time. And we've seen that growing in New Hampshire. It's not like at this critical mass where it's just huge, but I think they understand that a lot of businesses are setting an example that other businesses see.
Do you think we'll see that show up in the legislative environment, or do you think the legislation will say, look at businesses that want to attract good, talented employees will offer these. Businesses that don't won't.
I think that there are bills already coming up, and there'll probably be more in the next legislature after the elections in November, when we have another legislature. There is that tension, but I do think that, like, for example, there was a bill this session on of having companies set aside a certain area for women who are breastfeeding. Mm-hmm. Which comes under that family-friendly umbrella. I mean, it doesn't get more family-friendly,
right.
So the legislature is seeing that you need to do that in some cases with businesses, because for employees, because there are matters of basically anti-discrimination laws and things like that businesses might be coming up against. Mm-hmm. That if you have a legislature doing it, it might encourage these companies basically not to discriminate against their employees, and it's not it's an interesting thing, because New Hampshire's the kind of place where the legislature does kind of shy away from doing things like mandates, but I also think it's a place where the public policies are under discussion, and I think that really does help bring them to the fore.
So we'll see a number of different. Do you think we'll see a number of different policies?
Oh, I think so. I think there'll be bills. Certainly. Well. Under a broad definition of family-friendly policies is this whole idea of a living wage, which is, argument is.
We've seen that come, and it'll come in again.
And I'm sure it'll be coming in again. There was attempt for a $15 minimum wage that wasn't going to happen, and But there's still going to be an attempt to do it, because New Hampshire, back in 2011, we got rid of our own state minimum wage, and we're now tied to the federal. And that's a federal debate. But there's been attempts to bring back the New Hampshire minimum wage again, and that's a big discussion.
Well,
it will not be going away.
That's right. We'll look forward to following that when that happens.
That's right.
But right now, we got to go to break. And when we return, we're going to focus on energy issues. So please stay with us.